Hi, and welcome to the Notepad Show. I'm Todd,
And I'm Lex.
and we are just going to sit back and talk about whatever comes to our minds. And we want to have you guys along for the ride. So sit back, enjoy, and let's have some fun. Cheers. Let's sit back. we're doing it again. I don't give a shit.
All right,
Okay?
that's fine.
I don't even give a shit if this is on the goddamn tape. I've done this enough. So let's sit back, relax, and have some fun.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You gotta drink to your cheers, though. It's rude not to.
Okay. So anyway, what are we going to talk about, dude?
Well, let's talk about yellow cars.
Dude. All right. So before we even started this show, we had a little pre-production meeting here to talk about. Okay, what are we going to talk about? And Lex wants to talk about yellow cars and what would be appropriate for a yellow car. So what kind of cars would be appropriate in yellow?
When is it okay to have a yellow car? What kind of cars can be yellow and not be looked at in a weird way, right? So, for instance, a 1999 Honda Civic should not be yellow.
No.
Not yellow.
Unless you're a hairdresser and your name is Jorge. You know,
Then
no?
no.
Okay. Well, what about like a supercar?
Like an exotic?
Yeah, like an exotic car, like a Lamborghini. Is that okay? Yeah?
Lamborghini is absolutely okay to have a yellow car.
Okay.
Definitely.
So there's only two circumstances. There's only really, right now, one circumstance where a yellow car would be decent, and that's a Lamborghini or a Porsche, exotic of some kind.
Yeah, definitely.
There's no other...
Old cars, classic cars. Like a 1950 Chevy Bel Air can definitely be yellow.
I can see it, especially in the South, like in Miami, like South Beach.
Yeah, maybe if you go to Cuba, which you can do.
Oh, yeah, you can do that now. So we can go to Cuba and see yellow cars.
Go
I'm
see
sure
all cool classic cars.
I don't know. I have this picture in my mind that cars in Cuba are like baby blue.
I could say one of those baby blue, like a light yellow kind of thing.
Yeah, the pastel colors.
Yeah.
Colors. Yeah.
That's another thing is the car can't be a ugly yellow. It has to be that bright kind of. It can't be like an orange yellow or a mustard yellow. It has to be a bright, sunny kind of yellow.
Correct. I totally agree.
You can't
agree. There's nothing like a yellow Ferrari or a yellow Lamborghini. I know red is Italiano and Rosa.
Everyone's Ferrari is red. Be original.
By the way, I don't even know. Is Rosa red
Rosa's pink.
Rosa's pink?
Rosa's pink.
Oh, well then I don't know what the hell I'm saying.
It's okay. Roja is red.
Yeah.
Roja.
So, are we having a language lesson?
Here's language lessons with Lex and Todd.
Yeah, exactly. By the way, we're not just a car show. We're going to be talking about a lot of different things. Cars, tech.
The stuff you just saw on the billboards in the intro.
Yeah, movies. And, we'll give our worldly wisdom out, our insight. So yeah. But since we're still on cars, when we're, again, prepping, we were each to come up with 5 different topics to, keep the conversation going on our first show. My question, car-related, is what car today was completely overhyped by the time it came out? Like, it promised to cure our woes and be the most incredible car that we've ever seen, and then when it came out, it was just absolute garbage. So,
So kind of like the Viper.
Yeah, I don't know. I have this feeling. The Viper, I know that Richard Hammond of Top Gear is he friggin' loved that thing. It was on an episode of Top Gear where they visited America, and he loved it. But it's tail happy.
That can be fun.
It's it's not engineered very well. It's another apparently they fall apart. They haven't been able to sell them. It's in its second 2.5 generation, or I guess third generation, but they've tried to bring it back, and they've had no success in bringing it back. And I think they're going to shelve it again. If they haven't done it already, I'm not actually sure, but I think that they're going to shelve it. But the Viper's up there, I think.
I've been a big fan of the late '90s Viper. That was a dream car at one point. That was the car. Like, if I can have any car in the world, that would be it. But the newer Viper, it just doesn't reach the par of what you look for in a supercar these days.
I will say this, that's correct, and I should reiterate that I'm talking about the new generation of Viper, not the original. The original was revolutionary. It was one of the first cars to have a V10.
Really?
Yeah, that was a big deal, and it'd be, the long nose and the minimalist interior, and it was just. It was a classic.
You know how I feel about cars with long noses. They're great.
Yeah. This is going to be an ongoing thing we're going to be talking about. But this man next to me likes the Z4 Coupe.
Is that the Z3?
Oh, excuse me, Z3 Coupe.
The Z3 Coupe. It's a good-looking car. The weird little hatch in the back. Yeah. It's a love it or hate it kind of thing. He hates it. I love it.
I think he needs a psychiatric exam because I just don't see the appeal.
Sometimes you have to be this guy's friend.
Yeah, well, that's true. That is true. Have you set up your appointment yet?
Yeah, well, it's coming up.
Yeah, well. So anyway, yeah, we that's one of the most overhyped cars. I think the newer generation Viper. What else?
Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the Challenger these days. The 700 horsepower Hellcat, that thing looks really cool. They look the same, but it sounds really cool. But I just never was impressed by the new Challenger body style.
Is it because it looks so similar to the Camaro?
Maybe. I really like the Camaro, but I think it's too big. It just seems like they're trying to put too much car in it. Mm-hmm. It's boxy, and I like boxy cars usually, but it's boxy in a bad way.
Right. No, I mentioned this last week. The GTR, the new one, the Godzilla, the R35 is a boxy car in person. It's a very, very big car. That's not one of the most overhyped cars, believe me, but it is a boxy car. So I get what you're talking about. When you see a car in a magazine or on video, it doesn't look as big, but when you see it in person, it's like, holy crap. And you're right, the Challenger sits sort of higher, has a high stance. Right. It's not, in fact, I see so many of them are lowered. It's like somewhere in the factory, the designers are like, let's make it almost like a 4x4. It's so jacked up.
I could see it like a 4x4.
It's a lot of gap. Yeah, there's a lot of gap in the wheel well. Hey Bailey, be good. We were wondering if we should keep the dog in the studio and not, and she's growling, so forgive us. But the Hellcat.
The Hellcat, it seems like a
good idea, right?
Seems like a real good idea.
Yeah.
I've heard they're crazy, sold out. You can't even order one right now.
They also can make that look that way because they can maybe not make as many. But I never understood that car. From what I understand, it is a really, really hard car to get traction on. So you have 700 horsepower, but there's no traction. You can't.
Not like a torque controller or anything.
I have the same problem with my car when I launch my car from 0 to 60, and I know what you're thinking. I've seen videos where the from a standstill, the car's just for the first 2 seconds, it's not going anywhere until it finally hooks up and goes.
That comes to another point is you can have the fastest, coolest car in the world, but how good of a driver you are is going to really show how it's going to bring out the best in the car. So if you're just a pedal happy teenager who doesn't know how to drive, yeah, your car's going to go everywhere. But if you understand the idea of, okay, maybe I shouldn't take this corner shouldn't take the corner that fast.
I don't think that thing can turn. Can it turn left and right?
I'm sure.
Does the steering wheel actually function?
I'm sure it's like the NASCAR. It's like, why do they even have a right turning steering wheel if they're only going in a left circle?
Well, known fact, that's not the case in NASCAR. There are tracks on NASCAR that go every which way. They don't just turn all to the left.
Right.
There are some,
but a lot of them do.
Yes, are ovals. They are.
But the thing is, you have to be able to control your car. If you have a car that's too much for your driving ability, maybe just don't get that car. Trade it in, get something that you can handle and drive well.
I definitely. I think I agree with that premise that you buy the car that fits your skill set. Don't buy above your ability,
right? Because
those are the people that wind up being on a compilation video of crashes. The ones that have you ever see those compilation videos where
the Mustangs, man.
Yeah. They're coming out of Cars and Coffee and they're whipping around the corner, and it's like next thing you know they're hitting up on a curb, almost hitting somebody,
or sometimes actually hitting people.
People.
If I were to get a pile of money just in my lap right now, my first reaction would, let's go buy a GTR. But would that be a good idea for me? Probably not. I'm a young dude, I don't need a GTR right now. That thing is so powerful, so fast. I don't really need it. I don't even want to drive your car sometimes.
Right.
It scares me. It's a lot of power.
Right.
But yeah.
I've squirreled. I've not lost control, but I can feel the back end come out. Yeah, that's actually an interesting topic.
What's that? How to control the back end coming out?
No, just I don't know. It's like the attitude on the road of young people, and how like they all think they're Mario Andretti, or maybe I'm dating myself, Dale Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt Sr.
or Junior even. They all think they're race car drivers. I'm on 59 and I see these people flying by, and I'm like, what's the point?
We're all idiots. All the younger males like driving. We all think we're it's Mario Kart, and it's out there on the freeway, and it's serious though. It's scary as hell.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I try and keep my head about me for most of the time. I keep my head about me and ignore those drivers. My brother, who is a motorcycle driver, will tell you that some of these Houston drivers just they don't pay attention. They don't to bikes.
Yeah, no, they don't.
And you're a motorcycle rider, right?
I am. It scares the hell out of me, riding a bike in Houston. We're in Houston, Texas, by the way, if we didn't touch on that. It's horrible riding a motorcycle, even just a car, but people don't look. People are unsafe, and it's just everyone's texting, everyone's just doing stuff while they're driving other than paying attention, and it's the worst.
Yeah. So,
Anyway, other than cars, what are we talking about today?
Well, the only other thing I was going to touch on is actually what this text is about. So our friend Matt is texting us about going to see Civil War.
Civil War. I've heard good things.
Yeah,
good things.
This movie looks like unbelievable. What is it like? It's already like the fourth largest moneymaker on the top, grossing list.
I'm really skeptical because I was unpleasantly surprised with the Avengers 2.
Yeah, you had said you didn't like it that much.
Too much action towards the end, not enough dialogue. You like to enjoy a movie, but when you've just got CGI, when all you have is CGI characters fighting each other, you're literally watching a computer animation fight itself, and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Now what? Let's go on with that for another 30 minutes.
So you think that there's a lack of story? I will say this about Hollywood right now, and it's an interesting thing, their writers are getting off easy because right now they're only having to write for material that's already existed for years. Comics have existed for decades.
Comics are huge.
So they're only having to write the screenplay, the actual dialogue that goes into the movie. The story, well, they've already have an outline because they're just going based on the comics. So the outline's already existing. What about movies where there's an original thought, an original idea? I mean, how many movies have we all watched that are based on a book or a comic or a remake of a movie? Where is the original ideas for film today?
Well, it's almost like back when I think it was 2001 when the original Fast and the Furious came out. It wasn't the best movie in the world, but it had an original idea.
Yeah, it was, and they've had an amazing run. But yeah, I mean, undercover cop posing as a street racer. I mean, that's nobody thought about doing anything.
It was entertaining.
Yeah,
it was good.
Now they've gotten so crazy with that series. Oh. It's like 007. They're like spies and super soldiers.
That's the thing about, when was the last time you saw like a real street race? And I'm not talking about like a race on the street, because even when they're racing on the street, they're in these supercars.
Right.
Like, I want to see a Honda Del Sol versus a Nissan Sentra with only a muffler tip exhaust upgrade. And I want to see someone come out of there with like $100, $200 and then build their way up into a supercar. I don't want to just see homeboy.
Yeah. How did these people get? I remember in that first movie. How did Han get that friggin' sick Veilside?
The Veilside RX-7.
Yeah, that's like an expensive car, dude.
And in the first RX-7, or the first Fast and the Furious that came out, there was that yellow Nissan Skyline R33. What? Like, that's just like riding around on the street. Like, no, that's whatever.
Yeah, if you had that car, there's no way you're racing it. In real life, do you think they're racing, or do you think people who have those kinds of cars make them closet queens? Excuse me, I don't mean that sounded really offensive. I didn't mean anything by that.
I mean, some of them are, but at the same time, that was like 2000, 2001. That was before the R32 could come to America legally because the 25-year classic rule. I still think you can't have one in California because of emissions and whatever. But the R33 Skyline just rolling around in the U.S. and doesn't get pulled over, doesn't get crushed, doesn't do it. That's mind-blowing to think about, And they're racing it. Like, it's cool. And that guy, they didn't even touch on it. Where did he go? Like, what happened? He just disappeared from the movie. Yeah. He needs to come back in, like, Fast 9 or whatever and have that yellow Skyline. No. In the first Fast and the Furious movie.
Who?
John. I think his name was Johnny Strong as the actor, but it sounds like a porn star, right?
Yeah, I have no idea who you're talking about.
You would know him.
I would know.
Yeah.
Is he in other movies or?
I haven't seen him in anything else. But in the first Fast, there was Jesse the Nerd. There was Letty, Dom's girlfriend. There was Dominic Toretto. Yeah. There was
who's Dominic Toretto's friend that didn't like Brian?
Vince.
Yeah. He came back a couple movies later.
Yeah.
And they were all buddy.
And there was one other dude with a yellow R33 Skyline that just disappeared.
I don't remember. Anyway, I think that's it's going to do it for this first episode.
It's going to do it for this little discussion.
Yeah. So anyway, I just want to say thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.
See you later, guys.
Bye. Cheers.
Cheers.